you go to page 792, there's a table, and the table starts at -6. And you see the first column is labeled Z. This is also in the reading of chapter 6. This is for the minus side of the normal curve. And then, once you reach the positive half, is on page 793, you see a column of Z. You can see the shading of the normal curve. Look at the blue in the upper left-hand corner. As you see, it's shaded blue, which I'll bring my blue pen to show you that it represents the amount of the normal curve, or the amount of our population which is less than our observation. And that's what we're looking for, the percent of people below a 115. Notice it's shading to the left. How does this work? Well, for now, we're going to deal with the first two columns. If you go down to 1.5 and you go over to the first column, notice that this gives you your ones digit and your tenths digit, and your second column gives you your hundredths digit. So 1.50. If this doesn't make sense, please do the reading in chapter 6 and follow the directions in chapter 6. And you can see at 1.5, get your finger there, and see that 93% of people scored below a standard score of 1.5. Well, 1.5 here represents 115. 115. 115 IQ represents a 1.5 Z-score. And from the table, you can see that a little over 93% of people scored less than a 115. This works always. And let's look at it again in a different situation. We'll have another normal curve, and we're looking at the height of people. Men have an average of 170 centimeters with a standard deviation of 5. And you see 175, 180, 185, 165, 160, 155. And I want to know the percent of men that are taller than 160 centimeters. So 160 is here. And I want to know the percent of men who are taller than 160 centimeters. I know that 160, I can figure out the Z-score. 160 minus 170 over my standard deviation of 5 gives me minus 10 over 5, which is minus 2. My Z-score is minus 2. I take minus 2 and minus 2.0. I take minus 2 to my table. And I see that the number in the column is 0.0228. Remember that that is the value to the left, but I want the value to the right. So how do I do that? 1 minus 0.0228. Now, I I subtracted from 1 because this is percent. And I know that these are in decimals. I could do it, I could convert them to percents, and I could say 100 minus, move your decimal 2 spots, 2.28%. 100% minus 2.28%. It's the same in decimal form or in percent form. But 97.72%. I'm sorry, I ran out of room. Okay? So 97.72% of men are taller than 160. I would like to see you write an answer on a test or on a homework and write it out. 97.72% of men are taller than 160 centimeters. Why is it important to write it out? Because if you don't, this 97.2 is just some abstract number. Okay? And when you write it out, it gives you a chance to think if it makes sense. I would like to see you getting the hang of drawing pictures and writing out the answers. The pictures help because when you go to the table and you got the number 0.228, you think about 0.228, and I'm asking the percent of men taller than 160. You think 2% of men are taller than 160? I don't think so. The picture will help you. And so you'll know this is 2.28% and this is 97.72%. So it helps to draw the picture. It's very important to learn how to navigate on a picture of a normal curve. And it takes a lot of practice. I am not assigning formal homework for Chapter 6 because you will be required to study Chapter 6 for the test, so I don't want to pile it on. But what I want you to do is practice as much as you need. If you want to send it to me, and have me check some answers, I will. But what you need to do is just 6.1, 6.2, 6.3. Those are good examples for review questions, 6.1, 6.2, 6.3. And again, not required, but good example for review questions. And again, 6.7, 6.8, 6.9, good questions. Good questions. 6.1, 6.2, 6.3, 6.7, 6.8, 6.9 will be very good questions. We're not going to test on section 6.3, and we're not going to test on 6.4. Okay? And we'll look at those later. So go ahead, practice 6.1, 6.2, 6.3, all the way up through 6.7 would be good to test. Okay, and good luck on your exam.